Hello, work life warriors. Happy Sunday. I hope you're doing well. Today, I am doing a book review. As you know, reading is so good for stress management. It is a great way to reduce cortisol and combat stressors. And so, we should be reading just because the world around us is changing, right? Which means we have to keep up with the changing world, which means taking on new information. And we can't always take it on in the form of videos and podcasts. We actually have to work our brain because our brain is a muscle. So we want to make sure that we are actually reading. We are shifting our eyes from left to right. That has so many benefits on our brain, although we do not recognize that. And so reading is so very important. If you could just read a page a day, whether that is devotional, information, if it's a book, if it's entertainment, if it's self help, it will help you drastically improve. And so I absolutely love to read. I come from the city that reads. So I started reading at 6 for pleasure. I've always read. And so throughout my doctoral journey this last 3 years, I haven't been reading for pleasure, but I am trying to pick back up my books to read for pleasure. I've just been reading about, professionally. So stress management. Now I'm trying to pick back up my books, but I am in a program, the Athena leadership program, and they have 8 principles that I am working through. And so what I am going to do is make a video for each principle and go through the questions with y'all online, just to kind of get you thinking about the principles of life. So the Athena principles to me focus more on character ethic instead of personality ethic, which is very important. Stephen Covey talk about that all the time, that society now is focusing on our personality ethics, on how to develop certain personality traits to, manage people, to manipulate them to get what you need. And there are many successful people who are not happy, right? And I believe that it's because we should be focusing on character first, right? Developing the character to withstand any scenario or situation or experience that you're in, and how to make any experience help develop, grow, stretch, expand you. And so character ethic is way more important than personality ethic, although personality tends to be more rewarded here. And so the Athena principles are kind of focusing on building your character. And each week, I am going to go ahead and talk about a new principle. So as you can see, it's a small book and I have a couple of different tabs that I would like to talk about. And this week, we are going to talk about the second Athena leadership principle, which is to learn constantly. Now, I believe in growth mindset. I believe you have no choice but to have a growth mindset, although it is an option, and a lot of people do not choose a growth mindset. They choose the fixed mindset. They just don't understand why certain things happen. They do not take on information so they can grow and develop and learn. They only learn when they have to meet a goal or deadline. And it's not a staple. Learning is not a staple in their life, and it's not a part of how they solve problems. And so for me, I decided earlier on, coming from the city that reads, I decided earlier on that I would learn forever, that I would be a student of life. I said that as an elementary school student, that I will be a student of life and I will constantly learn, and that I will focus on how to develop and grow and be able to maneuver. Because as a kid, in Baltimore, I looked around and I witnessed that many of the people around me did not want to grow. You asked them questions, and it was a lot that they did not know at their big age. I asked many questions, and many people had not even left the side of town that they were on, that they grew up in, really. And so I just thought, like, if I don't take on new information, if I don't go out of my way to try to learn how the world works outside of the environment that I was born in, that I would severely hinder or handicap myself. And so I made it a conscious effort, even at 6, as conscious as you can be, to say, I want to learn. So I would go every week to the library. I would read, I would write, I would journal. As I, for some reason, as a kid, I always gravitated towards people who were older than me. So I picked up mentors very early who helped guide me through different experiences, throughout life to get me to where I am right now. And so learning constantly was one of those staples that helped me to, learn through my trauma, to grow, to develop, to heal, to be inquisitive and curious about myself, my internal world, the world around me. And I feel just through being inquisitive and curious and taking on this information that I'm able to maneuver in a very genuine and authentic way because I made it a priority. And I just can't understand, well, kind of, because we do live in a society where a lot of bad habits are rewarded, but I don't understand, not doing what's in your best interest. If you tried something and it doesn't yield the desired result that you want, you should try something new. I don't understand doing the same thing, expecting something new. And that's kind of what we've been doing in general with societies over and over. They come up, they do the same thing, they crumble. And so where we have people or pockets of people who learn, our societies are not based on like overall learning, right? It's very fixed mindset. Is here's these milestones, you go through these milestones, you live your life, you pay your taxes, you pay into your social security, you move on, you transition, right? And so for me, I didn't want that limited destination. And if you don't want that, you have to do what other people aren't doing, right? And what I realized is most people were just wasting their time away. They weren't learning, they weren't growing, they weren't developing, they weren't asking questions. And so I made it a priority that that's what I would do, regardless of how much trouble or conflict it would cause. I will ask questions. I will not practice blind obedience, and I will learn constantly. And so the number two principle is learn constantly. And it says, dare to be open to what is new, expand and develop both local and global knowledge. Listen to and observe the perspectives and practices of others. Develop understanding, build on experience, intuition, and self-directed learning. And leaders seek knowledge. And it's absolutely true. I do not know where I would be if I did not go out and seek the information to heal me, to help grow and expand me. And it's so important that we do that, even if you're not guided to. So even if someone's not forcing you to learn, if you're not learning for work, if you're not learning to, solve a problem, just getting in the mindset of learning just for the sake of learning, right? I really wish that society, like reinforced or that's a bad word, well, sparks a love of learning and a love of reading for children. For me, I just happened to gravitate towards it because I wanted to go somewhere different. But the way that we're taught, the way that we're educated, it doesn't necessarily curates a love of learning or a love of reading. Just think about me going through this doctoral program and reading so much information. A lot of it was useful, but a lot of it was like, this is a lot of information and it's not really impactful for what I'm trying to do. And since being in the program, and particularly this last year, I have not been reading like I normally would. I normally read a book a week, but I had not been doing that because I'm so burnt out from all of the reading that I have to do in my doctoral program. And it's the same thing for, elementary school and middle school and high school children. They're not reading things that interest them. They're reading for the test. They're reading to pass the grade. They're reading what interests another group or what will continue to have the, or continue the same status quo, right? So you're reading to uphold the status quo. And so you're not reading the things that interest you, the things that help develop your life, that help improve the overall quality of your life. You're just going through the motions, learning as the society deems fit, even though it may not be in your best interest or what you're interested by or intrigued by. And so learning can't just be for the sake of the society that we live in, because living is a shared experience and we do have to work together to survive and thrive. Absolutely. But it needs to be a part of, this is just something that I do to stay on my toes, to make sure that I'm, showing up, enjoying this one experience, it not taking it for granted, making sure that I am developing or being obedient to what I believe in. Most people, right? 90% of people, more than that, like 98% of people believe in something bigger than themselves. But the question is, are you being obedient if you're not learning who you are and what you came to do? Or are covering the tips or tools or solutions or practices or people or resources that you need to walk into your best self, to do the thing that you came here to do. And so a lot of times we get distracted, or I wouldn't even say distracted. We just go according to the plan, go through the milestones of life according to how other people think that we should learn. And we never stop to think about, what can I learn that will be good for me today, will be in my best interest. I always say, this quote that I read, it says, do something today that your future self will thank you for later. And I like to say, learn something today that your future self will thank you for later, because you just don't know what life is going to be like in each transition of your life or each chapter of your life. And so for me now, I know that I am going to age, I'm going to get older. And so I need to take on the information right now that's going to make it so that as I age, it's graceful, right? I have the things that I need. I know what I need to know, and I'm preparing for it. So preparation and prevention are very important. It's like you have to prepare for the things that you can't prevent. And that's what really learning is. It's a lot of times we step in traps because we don't know, one, that it is a trap, and two, we don't know what it is. We don't know how to get out of it. We stay too long because we don't know how to get out of it. We don't learn our way out of scenarios, situations, experiences. And it's so important for us to do that. Although we know it's not enough time in the day, but you have to prioritize it. A lot of time we spend time, wasting on things that don't really matter: social media, cable television, gambling, shopping, gaming, all of these things that, in the short term may reduce stress and cortisol and make you feel like you're more empowered. But in the long term, it's not something that multiplies, something that pays off in the future, and may actually be more problematic in the future. If you shop now, the bill comes later. If you gamble now, anything can break down and you wish you had that money that you just gambled away, right? And so we always want to think of in terms of like, what can I learn to help ease my life, to help make it better, to improve the quality of my life? I am responsible for me. I am accountable for me. So how can I learn so that I can have more abundance, that I can be of more service, so I can show up, be more proud of myself? Because it's easy for us to just go through the motions every single day, clock in, go through the milestones, not think about it. But then we wake up at some point and we're not necessarily happy about the choices that we made. So it's in our best interest to learn what we need to learn to go to where we want to go and to be the person that we want to be. And so what I pulled from this chapter was learning is so fundamental to the quality of our lives that it is like air. We do not realize when we are doing it, why or how we're doing it, and what we will become of this information we just absorbed. But learning inspires personal confidence and self-esteem, essential elements in developing an effective voice as a leader, someone worth listening to. Leaders generate the priceless discovery of purpose and passion, as the following story illustrates. So it goes into a story, but absolutely, I would say that I became more confident the more information I take on. I become more confident. Fear is just false evidence that prove it real. So you feel fear because you don't have on enough, or you don't have enough information, or you don't have the skill set or the ability or the coping mechanisms to deal with what you're going through, right? And so then you feel stressed, you don't feel like you're capable. And so the way to build your confidence and the way to be more ready for what life has to offer is to take on more information to help develop you, to help grow you, to help you figure out who you are, where you're going, and who you're going to be around when you get there. So what you need to know, right? And it's like air, because we think of learning as something very formal, like we sit down, we read a book, we learn, but we're constantly learning every single day if we're open to it. Every conversation that you have with a person is an opportunity to learn about yourself. Every failure is an opportunity, every success is an opportunity, every moment of self-reflection is an opportunity. The experiences that you go through are opportunities for you to learn, for you to develop. So learning is just like air. You can shut it down and say, I don't want to learn anything new. I don't want to change. I like things the way that they are. But that's actually going against source, God, Allah, Jehovah, whatever you believe in, because everything is constantly expanding. And so saying that you don't want to change, you don't want to grow, is you being out of alignment with whatever you believe in. And so just like air, you cannot exist without air. You are just existing if you don't learn. You're not thriving. You're just here. You're just taking up space, and it's fine to do that. We're all allowed to be here, and we matter, so we can take up space. But I say we have one life. Why not make it matter? Why not make it count? Why not learn something that can help strengthen and fortify you, that can help build your community, that can help you serve, that can help you walk into your best self, your greatest era, right? We all have that special sauce that we're just waiting to uncover. But in not changing, not growing, not actively being curious about the things around us, we don't step into the person that we know we're capable of being. Deep down inside, all of us feel it. We know that we're capable of so much more, but we shrink, we reduce ourselves, we distract ourselves, we withdraw, we avoid, we do all of these things because we are afraid of the responsibility that comes with awareness. When you have awareness of something, it's hard to kind of keep doing the same things that you were doing before, right? And so we don't learn because we know that learning means that we have to now be accountable and responsible for what we know. And another big thing about learning, it talks about the ego part of it, is admitting what you don't know. And in admitting what you don't know means that you can go out and receive the information that you need to move forward. Many of us, our egos are in the driver's seat, and so we don't learn the information that we need to. We are too embarrassed to admit that we need help, or we need to pick up new resources or talk to people to solve our problems because we think that we're supposed to do it all alone. Society says that you're supposed to be successful all alone. You're supposed to figure out the tools. I gave you the tools, but we know that that's not really true. And no man is an island. Living is a shared experience, and we have to work together and learn together in order to solve our human family issues and problems with solutions. And so together, learning as a society will help us redefine society because um, imagines what you think is possible, right? It reshifts your perspective on what you thought you knew, or what you were taught, or what is acceptable, right? And so we want to always push our limits by learning, growing, and developing, and making a growth mindset a priority. You don't even know what you're capable of until you consistently learn and develop yourself. So please share with me in the comments, what do you think about learning constantly, about growth mindset? Do you have one? Do you have a fixed mindset? How do you feel when it comes to change? Do you actively seek change? Are you proactive? Please, I would love to know your opinion. Please share with me below. For me, I actively seek change. I am a proactive person. I'm also very preventative. And so just thinking about how these aspects have, shown up in my life, I am completely grateful to be a person who learns constantly. It has reshaped my life, what I think about, what I think about myself, and how I maneuver in this world. And I believe that it can do that for you too. So learning constantly is a thing. Listen to podcasts, talk to people, have the hard conversations, read books, do the things, the workbooks, walk through to who you supposed to be and where you're supposed to go. Don't avoid, don't go around, don't go under. Just walk through the fire. The fire is going to forge you into the person that you so desperately want to be, and it will help you walk into the power that you were meant to have. And it will help you live the destiny that you were meant to carry out here. So Please share with me below. And as always, work life warriors, it's your responsibility to manage stress, to be responsible for yourself. I would love to know what your thoughts are, and I will see you next week.